Welcome to Forecasting with Friends, everyone. I am meteorologist Allison Gargaro, and we have a lot to talk about, and I'm telling you a lot. We're talking winter weather across the state of Texas, and already this morning we have been hearing reports of snow up in Dallas, and for other folks that are basically between Dallas and Austin, so even north of Waco, we could be running into some ice, potentially even sleet pellets. So there is a lot that is going to be happening across Texas, that wintry weather to our north. But the thing is, for us here in southeast Texas, the Houston area, we're going to be getting a very, very cold rain. So let's get you right out to the graphics. And I want to just start with an overview of what we're monitoring right now. Actually, a bit of a lull in the rain for us here in Houston. It's only 11 o'clock, and let me tell you, I'd say by lunchtime and after, you can see that big old slug of rain down toward Corpus Christi. That's going to be moving in a big way. But Dallas is right on that line of some sleet, if not snow, and then that snow extending up through the panhandle of Texas into Oklahoma and then even out into El Paso. So folks that live out in those regions that I mentioned are in the thick of it. This is a live look at one of our cameras overlooking DFW. And if you look closely, in the right hand side of your screen, like about a third of the way down, there's some little what look like fins. Those are planes that are clearly at the gate and likely not leaving. And I'll do some research here to see if there's any airport delays at DFW, but I wouldn't be surprised that we're going to be seeing that. It's just nasty. The good news is we've only seen a handful of vehicles that are actually driving on the roadways because there is the chance for that ice. And you know, it's 11, so probably not a lot of people on the roadways, especially compared to rush hour. But boy, we are looking at, yeah, it doesn't look like too many impacting due to weather, snow and ice. DFW likely going to be seeing some delays. So they just say check with your airline there, but overall not going to be something that you're going to want to be traveling through. So Houston at 43, Austin to San Antonio upper 30s, but take a look at Dallas to Abilene, Midland. They are at 32 degrees right now. And then north of that, even colder, 31 in Oklahoma City, 26 in Amarillo. So let's actually get you down to our Dallas-Fort Worth radar. And it's important to note what the colors are. Green obviously means rain, and it's cold rain. And I will say the folks that are seeing the rain, their temps are likely at 33 degrees. Now you move up through Fort Worth and Dallas proper into the Metroplex there, and that is a mixed precipitation, likely because temperatures there are teetering on that 32-degree mark. So there is the potential for maybe some snow, but also maybe some sleet in the area. So mixed precipitation is difficult to drive through because when we talk about things like freezing rain, it is falling basically as rain, what you would be seeing on your windshield, but the second it hits the surface where those temperatures would be at 32, it would freeze on contact. So that's where it gets really difficult to drive in, because if there is any ice on the roadways, you can't see it. So that's where the slipping and sliding and traffic hazards do come in. But folks who live up in Plano, out to Grapevine, into Denton, McKinney, and moving up and toward the Oklahoma border, that's where we're seeing snow. And I have a lot of friends that are up in Dallas, and they've already sent me photos of their dogs and kids running and playing out in the snow. And so the good news is for kids, they're not having to go to school today because of that snow day. But for the folks that do have to drive, this is going to be very difficult to do so. So I want to let you know we're going to have more details on the forecast model so you can know what to expect. But I want to talk about what we are seeing right now in southeast Texas. We are in the upper 30s, if not mid 40s, and then 50s out toward our coastal zones. Reason that actually Galveston to Freeport and Angleton are much warmer. You see those little white lines that are streaming from east to west or right to left on your screen? Those are the winds, and it is downright windy right now. That's why they're actually a bit warmer. Those winds coming out of the east southeast, and I'm putting warmer in air quotes. You can't see me behind the scenes. It's not. It's obviously still cold out there, but that's why there is a bit of that breeze. But I want you to focus Houston and south. That's where we have the best chance to see some isolated street flooding a bit later today. We talked about how there is going to be a lot of rain moving in. We're just not seeing it yet. So let's look at our latest forecast models. Here we go. We're stopping at 3 o'clock this afternoon. That heavy rain that we were monitoring earlier down in Corpus Christi is going to be inching in. So there's going to be, throughout the afternoon, you'll start to see some bands of heavy rain, but some really heavy, consistent rain will be a little bit later this evening. But take a look. Just to the west of San Antonio to Austin to Waco, we could be seeing some mixed precipitation. And then up in Dallas, you guessed it, more of that snow. Here's that heavy rain that we talked about here in southeast Texas. It will be streaming in mainly along the coast, as it's really all dependent on where this low pressure system moves in. But if it's going to be a coastal hugger or right along the coast there, that's likely where they're going to be seeing some of that heaviest rain. But once again, the mixed precipitation possible to our north, and Dallas and points north still getting in on that snow through 7:30. Now look at 11:30 tonight. Yeah, the heavy rain is still going to be there. So this is going to be an all-day thing. I mean, it's not often that we put 100% chance for rain, but boy, we're going to be seeing it, and a lot of it, throughout the evening hours tonight. Now the timing, 11:30 p.m., hopefully not a lot of folks are on the roadways, but you can see our temperatures are going to be staying above seasonal. I will say right now it looks like the heaviest rain will be clearing out by midnight, 1 o'clock, but we're not ruling out the chance to still see some showers on the back end. But boy, we just went through our timing, and that's a lot of rain in a short amount of time, meaning that flood risk that we talked about is still going to be there. But you might be wondering, okay, well, how much rain could we see in total? And along our coast does have the chance for the highest rainfall totals. 2 to 4 inches, but through Houston and then streaks between us and the coast, we could be seeing anywhere from 1 to about 2.5, if not 3. Does look like right now Conroe closer to that 1 to 1.5 inch mark. But let me tell you, wherever these cells set up over, and if we do see some training with them, we're going to be getting a lot of rain in a short amount of time. So localized flooding definitely going to be a big concern through early tomorrow morning. The good news is once that round kicks off, our weather's going to be much, much quieter. Now, just for fun, I want to show you our latest snowfall totals outlook. Again, not for us here in Houston. We're getting the cold rain, but up to Dallas, they could be seeing 5-6 inches. This is a look at our GFS models. I will say the European model maybe came in a little bit heavier, but overall, still, that snow is going to be wet. These are big old snowflakes that will be falling, so something that we will continue to watch for you. And then I quickly just want to show you the 7-day because I touched on the winds a little bit, how they're going to be strong, but once all of this rain clears out to the east, we are going to be downright blustery tomorrow. So yes, chance for rain early, but once that clears, it's going to be windy, still pretty cloudy out there, and still cold. Temperatures will be in the 40s. It's not until this weekend that temperatures will finally be rising to the 50s, but hey, at least it's something. And then we'll start to see low-end rain chances overall, but the sun will be out. So you guys, a lot going on with our weather, and I actually want to talk through some stories about how, yes, street flooding going to be a major concern for us here in southeast Texas, but in the Dallas area, like we talked about, expecting snow and ice. Hundreds of flights out of DFW, Dallas Love Field already been canceled for today, and Governor Greg Abbott has activated state emergency response resources. He warned freezing temperatures combined with rain could lead to some serious travel conditions.
I cannot emphasize enough to my fellow Texans, listen, we're not used to driving on ice and snow. We're not used to driving in conditions like this. Be careful, be cautious.
So always something good to keep in mind. And we know a lot of folks are actually going to be heading out to Dallas because we have the Cotton Bowl ahead tomorrow. So make sure that you take caution. That's going to be in Arlington at AT&T Stadium. Crews have been working to keep the roads safe by putting down brine around the stadium. But if you're driving up from our area, it's recommended that you, well, hopefully already left, or you can leave this morning before we see any of that potential ice accumulation on the roadways. Now, areas up in Dallas under that winter storm warning, as we could be potentially seeing some blowing snow. And that's going to continue not only in North Texas, but also Oklahoma. So far, more than 200 flights in and out of Dallas Love Field have been canceled. That's more than 40% of scheduled flights at that airport. We will likely see that number go up as we continue to see that rain, sleet, and snow move in. Travelers are encouraged to check the flight status and get to the airport early. And if your flight does get canceled, I know that airports have been really good, especially through the holiday season, to reimburse you in some way. So just reach out to them for that. Now, farmers in our area also working to protect their crops from the cold weather. Now, one farm in particular has been placing frost cloths in order to protect their strawberries from the wind chill. Now, farm manager Tyler says that it costs about $32,000 per acre to plant strawberries. So losing plants to freezing temperatures would be so costly for this farm.
If we're worried about cold weather, then we're going to cover. Everything is in place to do it. It just takes us about a day and a half to 2 days in the field to get it covered. So we do it because it's the safe thing to do.
Yeah, that's a lot of money and a lot of time. Thankfully, to cover it, not quite as much time. Tyler says that they'll uncover their plants for visitors this Saturday and Sunday if you were planning on heading that way. Now, Bradley, if we could take me out, because I know that we're talking about the wildfires, and this has just been absolutely devastating for folks. I mean, take a look at this video. These fires, 5 of them burning across the Los Angeles area, not just Southern California. We are talking far in as the LA area. On the left, this is the Palisades fire, and on the right, this is a new blaze that broke out in the Hollywood Hills area, about a mile from the Walk of Fame. Hollywood Hills is close to where the Hollywood sign is, the Griffith Observatory. I mean, so many things that we know is in that area that could be lit by the fire at just a moment's notice. Now, these fires are being blamed for 5 deaths. More than 130,000 people are under evacuation orders, and thousands of homes have already been destroyed, including schools as well as businesses. Now, the Palisades fire is now the most destructive Los Angeles has ever seen. The majority of these fires are still burning just out of control, from the Pacific Coast to inland Pasadena. The Rose Bowl, the game was just played there, last week or a week and a half ago? As of last night, nearly 500,000 people are still without power.
You know, it's really scary when you can see the flames coming up over the houses 2 blocks away, and you're just getting out of the driveway, and the smoke and the ash is so thick you can't even see. You can barely see 5 feet in front of you. It's like Armageddon.
You know, and she mentions the air quality, and just think of what's being burned out there. Cars, batteries. I mean, the insulation in your house. Just think about all of the pollutants that are out there. Folks need to be wearing masks, even if they are not near where this fire is. President Biden has already signed a federal emergency declaration to get more help to the thousands of firefighters and emergency personnel that are battling those flames. So you guys, still a lot more coming up in Forecasting with Friends. We're going to be talking more about these fires, what we can expect in the days to come. Is there going to be some improvement in the weather? I think that that's so important. And, you know, just hear from some of the reporters that are out there and what they can do to help stop these blazes. And I was actually talking with Lena DeFlorius, who is one of the morning anchors. And, you know, I used to work in California, lived there for several years. And when we see these Santa Ana wind events and we see a lot of these burn scar areas, which once all the fires die down, that's what we're left with. Well, the problem is the weather sensation that comes in the next season could bring mudslides. And we saw this back in, I believe it was 2018, 2019, where there were a ton of fires and then mudslides came the next season. And folks, it was just like adding insult to injury that these people just went through losing everything and then mudslides rolled through. So, you know, the cleanup efforts could be pushed back months and months. So, you know, not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying that's what's happened in the past. So we'll continue to monitor things for you, but we're going to take a quick break and make sure you stick with us. We'll be right back in just a few. Welcome back, everyone. Boy, we have just crazy weather across the country. We're talking snow and ice across portions of the South, a very cold rain that's expected here in Southeast Texas today, but then obviously heading out to the west. And just, you've probably seen all over social media the devastating video of these fires that are just so close to folks' properties. They're getting evacuated. Folks are losing their homes, businesses. So one of our own reporters, Connor Hansen with Fox News, is actually live in Pacific Palisades this morning, and he's been talking about what conditions we have seen so far and then what folks can expect in the days to come.
The hills of Los Angeles are on fire. Crews here continue to battle several major wildfires that have left multiple people dead and forced thousands of others from their homes.
5, 6, 8, 10 houses in our neighborhood just gone like that.
Wednesday night, flames erupted in the Hollywood Hills, threatening one of the city's most popular tourist spots. Some folks stayed behind, racing to save their homes.
There was a tree that caught on fire just over here, and we had to come together as a community and just get our garden hoses together and just like put it out.
The conditions have stretched firefighting resources and water supplies to the limit. In the Pacific Palisades neighborhood, water systems faced 4 times more than normal demand, prompting officials to send several mobile water tankers to the area.
Why are those poor firefighters not given the tools to fight the fires for us?
Strong winds that fueled these fires eased late Wednesday, allowing firefighting aircraft to battle the conditions from above. But Los Angeles officials say the danger is far from over.
If you receive a warning, get ready, protect yourself and protect each other.
Oh, just so devastating. Now, LA's entertainment industry also taking a hit. There was supposed to be the Critics' Choice Awards on Sunday, but that's been postponed to the end of the month. Other award shows like the Oscars also had to change the date for their nomination announcement because we just don't know what buildings are going to be left, and obviously so much devastation in the area. Now, Universal Studios Hollywood also closed its doors for the day due to the severe conditions. They were closed yesterday, and that's likely going to continue. Unclear when that park is going to reopen. Now, you might be wondering, how can you help? We're sitting here in Texas and you're probably bundled up because it's freezing out there in some spots. Well, several nonprofit organizations are providing necessary resources for victims of these wildfires. Everything from meals to temporary housing are being made available to those who have fled their homes or even lost it. Salvation Army, Red Cross, California Fire Foundation, and World Central Kitchen are to name a few. Don't forget about the SPCA. There's so many local shelters that if you can just foster a dog, if you have family or friends that live close, that would be so important. You can help with monetary donations to any of the groups that we just mentioned. Airbnb is also stepping in and offering free temporary housing to Los Angeles residents in need. This is all made possible through a partnership between Airbnb and a nonprofit that serves Los Angeles County. Yesterday, Airbnb said it specifically focused on helping residents who have lost their home or have been forced to evacuate in hard-hit areas like Malibu and the Palisades. Now, several celebrities are among those impacted. Actor James Woods posted a video on social media, this is it, of the devastation from his home. Other stars like Billy Crystal, Mandy Moore, Paris Hilton, and celebrity chef Sandra Lee also lost their home in the flames. And we name a few, but guess what? There's people that don't have the millions of followers impacted that have also lost their homes. So that area, you think of it as the wealthy multi-million-dollar mansions, but There's also folks that don't have the $1 million houses that just lost everything, and it's just so devastating. You know, these business owners who have put blood, sweat, tears, so much of their time, their effort, their money into these businesses, and it just goes to the ground. So, you know, our hearts go out to them, but we mentioned ways that you can help. And, you know, these other big organizations, speaking of the Los Angeles Chargers, have stepped up to help people impacted. The organization donated $200,000 to support the community. The money will go to several programs designed to assist evacuees, first responders, animal rescue, as well as cleanup crews. The Chargers are also urging fans to donate bottled water, blankets, and clothes to evacuation centers. Meantime, NFL says as of right now, the wild card game between the LA Rams and Minnesota Vikings is still on for Monday night at SoFi Stadium. Monday night is right around the corner. The stadium is currently not in an evacuation area, but I've actually been to this stadium, and there's a roof, but there's no walls. So we're talking about the terrible air quality in the area. So there is going to be a backup plan. If the Rams can't host the game, it's actually going to be moved to State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. Well, you guys, just a lot going on weather-wise. We're going to come back right after the break, and I'll have a bit more details on the wintry weather that is moving across the South and Texas. Welcome back, everyone. I want to start with wind gusts because the winds, huge story along our coast. And the thing is, it's only going to continue to be windy as we head throughout your Friday. So this is a look at current wind gusts as of 11:26 on this Thursday. 36 mile per hour gusts in Galveston, 31 miles per hour in Freeport, 22 here in Houston, and 25 in Bay City. So this blustery winds are coming out ahead of our latest area of low pressure. And once that starts to move up, we'll actually be seeing a bit of a shift in the winds. Now, in all honesty, there's not a lot going on across the viewing area, but that will be changing. So yes, most of our rain that did move through the southern and eastern portion of the viewing area is out toward Beaumont, heading toward Lake Charles, but more of that rain will be moving in. And I want you to look, we've fast forwarded our latest forecast model to 1 o'clock. The showers start to move in. The heavy rain stays out to our west. We're talking Katy out to Brenham, along I-10 out to San Antonio by that time. But we head into the late afternoon hours, and this is when several bands of heavy rain will be moving into Huntsville, out to Brenham, and then along our coast. And if you just watch the coast closely, they just get hit hard with this heavy rain. And it does look like it's going to continue through the late hours tonight and potentially even overnight. Now, we're going to stop it at about 12 o'clock, and it looks like my pause point didn't kick there, but by 1 o'clock, most of the heavy rain will be out to our east. Now, we're not ruling out the chance to see some of those showers still lingering into the early morning hours, but with this latest forecast model, by 4 or 5 o'clock, it does look like most of the rain will be cleared, but guess what? We're cloudy and blustery on the back end. Because we're cloudy, temperatures remain in the 40s. Yeah. We're still going to be cold and windy tomorrow, but come Saturday, the sun starts to peak out, temperatures rising to the low 50s, and then we will be in the upper 50s by Sunday. So we kind of have it all in this forecast. I think for folks that are maybe sick of the cold, excited to get back to potentially 60 degrees by next Wednesday, but right now, there is going to be a flood threat today as this rain rolls through, and then we're going to be drying out just a bit, and the temperatures will slowly be rising. But as always, make sure you stick with us on the free Fox Local app for the latest weather updates. We'll see you guys tomorrow.